Up front, old school.
The best music around in stereo sound.
Music back to back to back. iLive Radio.
How you doing? What's good? It's Nkechi the Lyrical, sitting in my zone here, vibing and listening to iLive. And if you don't know, get to know. And if you do know, you don't know. And if you know, then relax and enjoy the ride.
You're listening to iLive Radio. This is Jay Most. Enjoy.
Online and on the go on your mobile phone. We're the internet's best choice.
Vibes and Vinyl is here every Friday live at 8 p.m. on iLiveRadio.com. Formerly of Toronto's FM radio airwaves, DJs Gene King and Ray Prasad are in the house once again to continue their tradition, promoting great house music to the world. You will hear exclusive releases and sometimes traveling back in time via some of the best disco, soul, funk, and house. So keep it locked and enjoy the ride. DJs Gene King and Ray Prasad have provided their listeners since 1996. Vibes and Vinyl in your face.
Join me, Patrick Omors, for the Patrick Omors Show right here on iLive Web Radio, Sunday afternoons from 2 to 3 p.m.
Hey, what about me?
Naida, hi.
Hi.
Who let you in the studio?
You're trying to record without me?
Okay, let me try this one more time since you're here. Join me, Patrick Omors, for the Patrick Omors Show right here on iLive Web Radio with my co-host, Naila T.
Hello. See you next Sunday, 2 to 3 p.m.
This is John Brodsky. If I'm not snapping necks, cashing checks, wearing the large specs, I'm tuned into iLive Radio.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
Welcome to Two Divas and a Mic. We're your hosts.
I'm Mesha.
I'm Delecia.
Welcome.
And thank you for tuning in again. We love when you guys tune in, and also we want you guys to join the conversation. There's a lot. It's a really heavy topic today, so our hearts are very heavy.
Yeah.
We're gonna, stay focused on the topic at hand, but we do have a lot of guests here today, so we would love to hear from them and have.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time out to come by. We said we want your voices to be heard, so there's certain things that we want to say, but we have to be a little bit more reserved about it. But you guys can go full throttle.
Go in.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy, but we're not saying go too deep, but go deep enough where you are staying focused on what really does matter and being passionate about what these about these situations that have been happening. But Diva, thank you for being on camera.
No problem.
Everybody's so afraid to be on camera, so we love it. They're like, we're gonna be back there, so we're happy to have you sitting with us. Black power. We're all wearing black, except for one person. We're not judging you. There's no judgment here. We don't do that, but you're not wearing black. It's okay. We don't have to point you out. So we want to make sure.
Big up Jermaine. It's okay. Big up. He came.
I didn't do it.
We appreciate it.
But
So
we want to make sure you call in though. So
yes, please call in. Get in the chat room. We want to hear from you. Any point in time, interrupt us. The phone number is 647-243-9379.
Call in. Write that number down. Save it in your phone. I say it all the time, but you guys don't listen. Sometimes you do. And otherwise, you can always come down and be with us live, like we have our audience today. So we love having people come. They get to have our cocktail of the week with us, which Mesha's going to get into because
I know.
Yeah, you did a cocktail today.
I did, and I redid a cocktail because it was so delicious. We had to do it again.
It was really good.
It's the Diva Tail. So the Diva Tail is the Caribbean twist cocktail mixed mango, and the Woody's pink grapefruit cooler. So it is light, it's fruity, but it's delicious.
It's so delicious.
If it's a lot colder,
it's good, right?
I like it. If it's a lot colder, add some ice. It's a good summer cocktail.
You know what you could do too? You can even freeze it,
right?
And then
put
it.
Slush.
Yes. I know.
Yeah.
And then after you just go ahead and put it in the blender and then pour that bad boy and then pour a little bit more and just you got your drink.
You can put some vodka in there if you really want to get
That'd be good too. Yeah, just pour a little vodka and then swish and here we go. So cheers to a great show, guys. Let's get this started. Cheers to you guys.
All right. So we're gonna start off with as everybody knows, this is a show about Black Lives Matters, Blue Lives Matters. We want to say that everybody's life matters. We'll profess that first, so that nobody gets it confused as to what we're here for. But the problem is that our lives, Black lives, are not as valued as the rest of the lives in society. So that's why there's the focus on Black lives. So this past week actually started very badly in terms of the bloodshed for Black men that were stopped by police, routine stops. So the first being was Alton Sterling, and he was tackled to the ground by 2 police officers and shot 6 times. That video
is so disturbing, by the way.
So disturbing.
I couldn't even, I actually cried, like legit, like, you know, you've seen a lot of these videos happen and you feel it in your heart, but when I saw that video, I just kept thinking of my brother. I don't know why, like I just instantly, an image of my brother kept passing through, and it's just like, why? Like, he had nothing in his hands. Like, what would you be tackling him on the ground?
Well, the call was, a homeless person called 911 and said that there was someone causing trouble and they had a gun in their hand.
A homeless person?
A homeless person, they called 911. So when the police arrived at the scene, I suppose they saw Alton Sterling. We don't know the full details of what went down before the video was shot. So when they were called to the scene, they saw Alton Sterling, who sold CDs at this convenience store for a long time. So they knew him as the CD man. Police saw him there, and I guess he had something in his hand, something in his pocket. We don't know.
We do know. You see the video. There was nothing. It wasn't a gun. So at the end of the day, I don't think it was life-threatening, and they're supposed to be trained to obviously know the difference between, you know what I mean, a gun, something threatening to them if they're pointing it at them. So
they did tackle him to the ground, and they shot him. And a couple, maybe a day later, the family had a press conference, and his son broke down, and that's what made me cry.
That made it worse for me, yeah.
Was the son at the press conference. So that was the initial shock that everybody went through. Again, another Black male being shot by police. So the next day...
Hold on, sorry. Somebody on the chat line, Nakia, she's like, how do homeless people afford cell phones? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny, but you know what? I feel you 100% because it wasn't like it was a random person and it's a homeless person. Like I'm pretty sure they paid off a homeless person. That's my opinion. But I don't know. Who knows? Just to get a story or.
Then the next shooting, the very next day was Philandro Castile, and I think this was, the first one was definitely disturbing, but this one was in the middle of everything happening, like probably seconds after he was shot by the police with his 4-year-old daughter in the back seat. His girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, started filming a Facebook Live. And Facebook just introduced this live stream thing. And it's so crazy that this was one of the first major thing that was broadcasted on Facebook that got crazy everywhere. And so they shot him 4 times. She filmed him passing away. And they took her into custody, held her for a few hours, took her cell phone. They didn't let anybody view the body or identify the body. His family couldn't see him, anything like that. So that happened. Everybody's outraged. We're all upset about that. There were protests that were scheduled on Thursday in Dallas, just all over the U.S. And we saw protests in New York, in Louisiana, Dallas as well. And at the end of a peaceful protest in Dallas, Texas, 12 police officers were shot, 5 died, they were killed. And now the conversation, it's to a point where you cannot deny that there is a problem. And we don't want to say that because we're in Canada, it doesn't affect us.
It definitely does. We're just right across the border. Like if this can happen there, and if we allow this to continue to happen, like what's going to happen to us?
And we're fortunate enough to be in a country that is not as racially motivated, racially charged.
And we're more multicultural.
We are more multicultural. We're not saying that these things don't happen in terms of ill treatment of Black men and women by police over here. It's definitely not as charged, but they do need our support more than ever in the U.S. And as Black people, we cannot sit aside and let let this happen over and over and over again. So now the conversation starts.
How do you guys feel, just the last few shootings and murders that have been happening?
Quite honest, I feel like defeated, lost, because it's like this has to end. There has to be a difference, but it's like, okay, where do we start as a community? What do we do? Like, there's only so much rallying and protesting and things we could do, which we've been doing for years.
Yeah.
Since our parents' generation, since before our parents' generation, and that obviously hasn't made a change. So it's like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Like, we're losing people in our community at a fast rate. So it's like, we need to act fast and something needs to be done.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And what makes it sad too is that you see those officers coming forward and they're saying that this is how they're training us, and you know we're gonna get fired for telling the truth. And this is what it is. They do make them do racial profiling. We do have to go make our quota and search for that black guy and the drug dealers, or go seek the black men before they go seek a white person. And it's sad to hear officers come forward and say these things, because I mean, it's not just us assuming this is what's happening. They're really coming forward and saying like, no, you guys are right, and we're gonna come out and say it. But then I hope that it doesn't affect their jobs. At the same time, it's like, but maybe that's not the field for you guys, because I'm happy you're coming forward and saying something. But if you guys can't make a difference within your own force, then you know what? Yeah, come forward and say something and find another career, because obviously it's not making a difference.
And big shouts to Rosenberg too for putting that cop on blast too. That was really important what he said.
He did.
Yeah, I did end up reposting that video because he was like,
yeah, he was right.
He was
right.
Dead on.
As much as we're going to talk about it until they start calling out their
police.
own bad apples among them,
Exactly.
like you're just going to get blanketed with all of the bad apples, that kind of thing. So yeah, they got to start calling out their own guys too, man.
No, it's true. Now, obviously, people have been so tired of seeing. I'm tired. I'm going to be very honest. I'm not going to say people of the hashtags All Lives Matter, and very bothered by the ignorance of people when it comes to Black Lives Matter. However, it's been explained and broken down and throughout social media what it means when we say Black Lives Matter. But I'm going to explain it again because I'm tired. See, I'm sick and tired.
Of the confusion.
I'm sick and tired of people not really understanding what we mean when we say this. And I've been hashtagging it, just the hashtag and nothing more, for a lot of the pictures that I've been posting. But now I'm just going to break it down.
This actually goes out to former mayor Rudy Giuliani, that came out today and said that Black Lives Matters is inherently racist. So
he said that?
He did say that.
Someone's gonna get
I'm all over it.
So
someone will get at it.
Sorry, yeah. So Black Lives Matter, the hashtag. Is it saying all lives don't matter? Of course, all lives do matter, but innocent Black lives in particular have been dying at the hand of police, whether these officers are on duty, off duty, retired, or they joined the force within a week. And they're comparing this. I've seen a lot of these memes, but like you're comparing it to, you go to a breast cancer rally and somebody yells out, skin cancer matters too. Well, we know all cancer matters, but all these families have lost their loved ones to breast cancer. So can they focus on that particular matter? Can we focus on the Black lives that we have lost at this moment? Like these killings of Black people in America are going at such a fast rate, and we barely have time to mourn one man, because you look on the news and 4 more have died within the same day. They are killing our Black people, so are we to say nothing about it? Are we supposed to just sit here and act like we don't make a difference, that we don't matter? No, Black lives do matter too. Not that your lives don't matter, but we also matter. And if you have been opening your eyes and staying and paying attention to the news, you will see that there's many Black lives that have been just senseless crimes and senseless deaths by the hands of the police. And I feel like it's time for us to say something and do something. But hashtagging Black Lives Matter, I think you need to educate yourself more and understand where we're coming from, because a lot of people are just making these statements without even doing the research. A lot of people are trying to they're going to the picnics and going to barbecues and then seeing these Black Lives Matter. Oh my God, what about my life? Like, did you look on the news? Like, have you been paying attention? And you know what? Right. It's fair to say maybe you haven't been, but at the end of the day, before you open your mouth, just do a little bit more research. And even the whole Black Lives Matter, I know it started and was created in 2012 after Trayvon Martin's murder. And George Zimmerman, he was acquitted for the crime, and obviously just being Black and wearing a hoodie, it sucks.
And what's crazy about the country, the United States, is that this man can put that gun that he used to kill a 17-year-old
on auction.
And people buy it.
And then people bought it.
Disgusting, I know. Yeah.
This is why we have Black Lives Matter, because if that was a white person, sorry to keep it very real, that would have never happened.
no.
He would be in jail right now, and there would be
Maybe a death
outraged.
sentence. I can
They would be
almost guarantee it,
outraged
you know what I
that
mean?
this man is
Oh
putting this
my.
gun on auction. So that's why we say Black Lives Matter.
It does really matter. So that was just my little take on
Just so
Black
you know.
Lives Matter. You know,
Just
you
so
weren't
we're
aware.
clear.
You're aware now. But
Yes.
Just to add to that, I
Yeah.
find whether it be like white people, Asian people, Indian people, like it's like as soon as Black people start speaking up or we say anything, it's like, oh no, but what about this? Like
Yeah.
even like I could back to like high school when it was like Black History Month and they would put up like little tidbits like around the school of like Black business owners, Black inventors, like anybody like prevalent in, that would be in Black History Month. Like there would always be somebody like either like a white person or whatever, be like, oh, but like you don't have a White History Month. Why do you guys? You guys do have a White History Month.
It's every month.
Every day.
It's every month.
In February, that's the shortest month in the entire year. But I'm not gonna complain about that. I mean, like
exactly.
Black History Month. But like I find like with everything that we have or everything that we do, whenever we open up our mouth, it's a problem.
Of course. And even
problem.
the history that we learn in school is all white. So like can we have a moment to educate ourselves and thank you for educating us on some Black people, but for the most part it's all white history that we're learning, especially here in Canada. So
And
it's
we're
like
not getting the real Black history that we were kings and queens.
it's their perspective
and all of
their,
that.
and what they choose to tell us about. So
because even like something just as simple as like, okay, the remake of Roots. You notice how they opened it with like, oh well, Black people were taking Black people as slaves first. Like, even though we know that did happen, but again, like you guys organized.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
still like everything they tried to like, oh, Black Lives Matter, but you guys are killing off each other anyway, so why do you guys care? Like,
it's almost like it's okay.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so why do you guys care now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, anything we do or anything we say is like, they always try to just exactly.
Play the victim over there? Blame the victim.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you.
No, that's definitely a very good point where we can't speak out without it seeming like we're being racist to others, and that is completely unfair. So we're going to move into media versus reality. So everybody that's been watching the news, reading the newspapers, you kind of have to take everything with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Don't watch CNN or Fox News or CBC, even though it is better based on the information that you're getting. You still have to kind of look at it like, oh, hold on, that doesn't sound too right. Let me go and do my own research, which is what I've been doing because certain things that have been coming out, especially about the Dallas shooting, is very suspect.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I'm just saying.
Have they found who the shooters were?
Yes.
Didn't they bomb up somebody like yesterday or the day before?
On Thursday, they did find the shooter. Initially, when they were identifying the shooter on Twitter, that's why Twitter is such a great place to be when certain things like this happen. It was a neo-Nazi white male. They didn't release that image in the general media, but they found someone that more fit the description.
Yeah, I see that.
That's the all-time best.
What they're looking for.
Reason, excuse that they can always go back on.
Yeah, fit the description of who we're looking for. That's why
who we're looking
over.
for. They actually blasted the picture of an innocent man. It's an open carry state.
You have to turn in his gun, actually. I've seen that.
Yes, it's an open carry state. So there were multiple people at this protest with guns. Not loaded, but just walking around with their guns. They saw a black man with a rifle and blasted his picture all over. It was on every news station. It was on every social media site. No apologies to him or his family, because this man could have really died in the streets if, if he was deemed to be that person, whatever. So as we're taking a look at what is going on through the media, we have to realize that everyone seems to have their own reality when it comes to race relations and the existence of racism in America. The media essentially, in cases like this, frame the way they want us to receive news of black men being murdered and ultimately police men being attached to those murders. For example, I was watching CNN the day of the Dallas police shooting and multiple cell phone videos were being released. So I'm watching CNN, I'm on Twitter, I'm seeing cell phone videos coming in left, right, and center. Now, the reports from police were claiming that there were two snipers on top of a building shooting officers. That was the initial report. Now, that was the report until cell phone footage was released of a man on the ground with a gun shooting police officers. And you could tell the man is fully trained.
Of course, he has to
in some
be.
type of way.
Yeah.
Because in this particular video, which was the most graphic one, he shot in one direction and to distract the police officer, then ran behind him and killed him. That's no average person.
No.
That's no sniper. They keep saying sniper. Snipers are people that are at the top of buildings and they're picking people off.
Yeah.
Somebody on the ground, that's the shooter, not a sniper. So let's just make those distinctions.
Yeah.
So after that, the report changed. And then we also have to be careful that we don't take what the media is telling us at face value.
At all.
Do not be distracted by something that is not the issue at hand. And the issue is racism. The issue is how black men and women are treated in the US, police brutality, and every news channel wants to change the rhetoric to Black Lives Matters, hates police, and they're the ones that are responsible for the Dallas shootings, which is pretty much what CNN is saying, what Fox, every news station, that's what they're saying. And Black Lives Matters, this man was not a part of the movement.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was able to make statements and negotiate with the police after he shot 5 policemen, and a man like Alton Sterling did nothing and was killed. So immediately.
And
so
then you show them in the media, and then you see the pictures that they show, and they make black people look so ghetto, so bad, so like they're criminals. Oh, that's it. That's the first thing they're gonna show, right? And it makes me so sad because then you see these police officers, and look at their family and their kid. What about these men and these women and their families? Can you show and highlight? I'm not saying don't do that with the police officers, but the same way you can highlight these officers and that have been killed with their families, why are we not doing the same thing for these black people?
At the end of the day, these black men went home to people who love them and people who care about them and people who miss them right now. So stop showing their mugshots if they have any.
Yeah.
From 19 how long?
You know what I
Like
mean?
17. Like you know what I mean? Like
it's the worst.
And
like, I don't get it.
And also there were after Thursday, after the police killings, there were other black men that were killed the day after as well. A Houston native, Alva Brazil, was killed by police because they claimed he was pointing a gun at them. And he was walking around, the story goes, we don't know the full story, but the story goes, he was walking around looking for his horse. His horse ran away, whatever. He had a gun, which was licensed, and he was able to carry, and he's looking for his horse. Someone called police and said a black man is walking down the street with a gun. Police came. They told him to put up his hand. He put up his hand with the gun, and then was putting the gun down on the ground, and they shot him. Also, Delron Small was shot by an off-duty police officer in New York City during a road rage altercation. And the police officer claimed that he jumped out of his car and started punching him, and he shot him defending himself. There's video evidence showing that didn't happen. So, as you can see, this is still happening, even more now because tensions are high. Everybody is on edge. So I don't know where we start in terms of, I don't know, changing. Where does it end?
Like what?
I was watching a couple of videos from David Bannon because he's very pro-black, very
yes.
Like he speaks his mind. And some of the things that he said, I had to agree with. He said, if we want change, if you want racism to change, you either have to start affecting other people's lives or affecting their finances.
Yes.
So I think if we start supporting our community more, shopping at our own stores, buying groceries at our own stores, buying things from our own people, I think that is one way to start
100%
start change.
And there's actually something going on right now on social media where they're boycotting, like each day in July, they're boycotting a retailer. They've gotten a list of all the black-owned banks in the U.S. to take your money out of them white-owned banks and put all your money here. So there's definitely a trend, a move towards supporting your own and spending money with your own. So yeah, that's a great start because once the money's gone, and we're big spenders, considering we're a small majority of the population, we spend on everything. So that's definitely the first way to.
No, for sure.
And that's the best way I feel is the best way to go, because if it was like Asian community or Muslim community, they all sit together, and if they do like a ban where they don't purchase stuff that's like American driven, it'll impact them and it'll make noise.
Yeah.
Even with the gay and lesbian community, if you mess with one of them, even when the stuff happened in Orlando, they can make change in an instant. And I feel like the black community doesn't really sit together as much in order for that to happen. But if something like that was to ever happen, I feel like that would really speed things up in regards to getting this thing over and done with.
I agree.
You know, and even just touching on that, so some people obviously choose to ignore these issues, and you know, a lot of people are trying to retreat these issues, or also trying to speak out and educate other people. So if we do our research, if we also like putting money back into our own pockets, that does help as well. I really appreciate this woman. I have it here actually. She actually, let me see here. She donated to Issa Rae. So she actually is a actress, American actress and writer, and she's known as the creator for the YouTube web series Awkward Black Girl. And you watched that show? So she started the GoFundMe for Alton Sterling's family, and she raised nearly $700,000 to go towards the children's college education, which I think is a complete blessing. And somebody of her, she has a YouTube channel where you have these people who have millions of dollars, a lot of celebrities, black celebrities. I would love to hear them give back. And I know they do give back, but I'm not trying to say they don't. But I mean, that also makes a difference as well. There's a lot of these families who don't have their father, their mother, their sister, their brother. It'd be great for them to kind of help and contribute to these families as well, so they could pick themselves up and start fresh again. Because although it's not going to bring back that family member, I think this is also another way that we can also give back, and even just ourselves. Like it's something that, whether it's $10 for every person that donates $1, for example. I mean, we can raise a lot of money. So that's another way. If you feel like you're helpless and you feel like nothing's being done, donate to these families. And there's a list, which I'm going to go through, but there's a list of families that you can definitely go and give back.
Or even simply signing a petition, like taking 20 seconds, because there was a petition online to fire Tammy Lauren. You know, the Fox News reporter that has the worst things to say about black people.
Like, if I could punch you in the face, I definitely would.
I saw the petition, and I took 2 minutes to fill out the petition, and there's like 40,000 signatures right now to get her fired. So keep on, people.
And
get her fired.
And post those things, exactly. When you see that, because sometimes we don't even know. Like,
Exactly.
educating yourself and knowing these things are happening and what you can do to make a difference, we need to know this. So, like, you see things, repost, make the difference, and go ahead and vote and do stuff like that, you know, helps out. But just getting into, I saw this post on Facebook, and it was hashtag say their names, and it's heartbreaking, obviously, to know that we're in 2016 and things like this is still happening, right? So senseless murders are still being committed by people we are supposed to turn to when we are in need. And obviously in the US, police are taking innocent black lives by the hour, and the media wants us to forget these people. So, you know, the difference is our hearts won't let us.
And the thing is, if these are the incidences that are being caught on tape, you can imagine the thousands and the millions that we're not seeing. So think about that.
Yeah. And
So
then
say their names.
A lot of these people, I'm gonna say their names. I hope I don't mash up your names. I'm the worst name sayer, but I'm gonna do my best to say your names. Okay, so I'm also gonna bring up the reasons why they were murdered, because it's really sad. So Alton Sterling selling CDs, Jamar Clark attending a birthday party, Walter Scott broken taillight, Michael Brown stole cigarillos. Sorry. Okay. So Michael Brown. No, I said that. Sandra Bland. Traffic violation. Corey Jones. Car broke down. I was actually like pulling up some of these videos and rewatching them, and I was getting so frustrated because I wanted to find out, you know, what happened to these police officers.
Nothing.
Nothing.
There's only one that actually, and I'll bring that one up that I found, and there's probably more, but I'm telling you, I stopped at 2 because I couldn't go through anymore, and I was getting so sad and choked up, and I was like, I just don't know why nothing's being done, and they're making it seem, again, when we say Black Lives Matter, why really? It's a big issue. Freddie Gray carrying a switchblade, Sean Bell leaving a bachelor party, Oscar Grant fighting in the subway, Tamar Rice, is it Reese or
Tamir Rice?
Tamir
Yeah.
Rice, I'm sorry. See, playing with a toy gun in the park.
And they pulled up. The police didn't even get out of their car in that situation. They just pulled up and shot a 12-year-old child. And nothing. No accountability.
Mario Woods carrying a knife, Laquan McDonald walking away from the police holding a knife, Catherine Johnston, botched drug raid, John Crawford III holding a BB gun, Kenneth Chamberlain, medical device called the police to his home, Eric Gardner selling cigarettes, India Betty holding a fake gun, David Joseph nude and coming erratic, Trey Martin wearing a hoodie. We will not forget you. We will continue to say your names. And
for the countless names that we
don't
know.
mention, because I know there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's so many. There was a lot more. And obviously for me to sit here and go through this, we can do a whole show on probably all the names that the people that we've lost. But continue to say their names, continue to post these things until change actually is made, because honestly it's baby steps that we're seeing sometimes, and then we go 10 steps back again.
And this is what Rosenberg was talking about, where police officers need to look at I've seen a lot of police officers on the news, and they're talking, or former police officers, military people, and they're saying, well, we don't know what happened before the video started, or we don't know what happened to get them to that
Much
point.
excuse making.
And
but I mean,
it's
like, how many times have
Yeah.
there been court cases where it's like regular people and there's been video and that's all they need is that 15 seconds or that 20 seconds?
That's
so
it.
why is it any different when
It's
when
evidence.
involves-
Because-
exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's a person of authority, and if they feel threatened, then this is how they're trained to react. So we just need to have that conversation, and police officers need to call other police officers and police precincts, wherever, out on not doing a good job. Like, you messed up in that situation, and you need to be responsible and pay the consequences for that. So that's the very first step that needs to be taken. And instead of, well, we don't know, or, well, this, that, no, just, I messed up.
Yeah.
Go to jail. Sorry.
My
No,
thing
go
on
ahead.
this is, if you are a civil servant of any kind, I don't care if you're a police officer, a nurse, a doctor, I don't care what you are. If you fear somebody, or if you feel like you can't do your job properly because of that person's race or gender or whatever, you have no business being in that field. So as
Amen.
a police officer, if you feel like every black person you encounter, you're going to be afraid of them, or you don't know how you're going to react, or whatever, you have no business doing that
You
job.
don't need to be
You
that
don't need
position.
to be doing that.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in that position.
And you don't need to be carrying a gun at that, because that is that's your job. Like, you're supposed to be
Exactly.
serving and protecting us. And if we're coming to you for help, and the first thing you think is, oh, I need help. From who?
From who?
From who?
Yeah.
How? I don't have a gun. How do you need to help?
Exactly.
Please help me, because
I don't get it.
Stop.
And how many countless white men with guns
With-
shoot
oh,
at police officers
the amount of videos
been arrested with arrested.
and even tasered. They've been. Why can't we
Thank
taser these people?
Thank
They will
you.
taser them before they even put a hand on
Thank
them.
you.
And you see these videos, and I was watching so many of them, and you'd see these guys just punching the officers,
Yeah.
and the officers, they're even running, some of them. And I'm like, what are you running from?
Thank you.
You have the gun, you have a taser, you're so quick to use the gun, and I'm not saying to use it on these people, but why are you using it on these black people? Why can't you use the same taser that you would use, or the same training that you would use
on a white
for these
person,
white people, but you can't use it
on
for
people.
blacks?
Like,
It's just sad.
I don't get it. I don't get
If
it.
you're a police officer, I always wondered, like, you always went through training to become a police officer.
Yes.
So if someone was to, quote unquote, threaten your life, couldn't you just shoot them in the leg or shoot them in the arms, just to disable them?
They're trained to kill.
At least, but it's always like shoot to kill.
They're trained. That's how they're trained. If they're shooting their gun, they're shooting to kill. Did you want to get on the mic?
Come grab the mic.
You can get
Grab
on the mic. Come.
So, not in defense of them, but if it's not easy to shoot somebody in the limb, it's not even easy to shoot somebody in their body. It's just we look at it and see it on TV and bang, and the guy drops dead. But 9 out of 10 times you're gonna miss
In the moment. Yeah.
right? So there's that. But the thing is, the cops get like 58 hours of training with a gun. They get 8 hours of training how to deal with the community. And that's the problem.
Yeah. Not enough training.
Yeah, to
definitely.
Deal with people,
That's number one.
People.
Yeah.
And there's also that law too, right? Even with, I think with the Trayvon Martin thing, where there's a law like if you shoot them and they live, that kind of goes against you. But if they die, then you're kind of protected. It's some kind of a funny law in Florida where if you're protecting yourself or self-defense,
I did hear about that.
You shoot them and they live, then that's when you get in trouble.
Yeah.
But if you shoot to kill, that's when like the laws kind of get blurred and you get off.
It does get
If
blurred.
any of you guys are actually in church or study your Bible, that should sound very familiar to you, because that's the law when it comes to slave.
Yeah.
You can beat your slave as long as when you beat him, you don't beat him too severely, and if he doesn't die within 2 days, then you're okay.
Yeah.
If he dies after the second day, you're good.
You're good.
But if he dies from the first to the second day, then you may
You're
be
in
in a
trouble.
problem.
Yeah.
So does it sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what the U.S. was built on, right? The backs of
Sorry, I know you want to say something.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna go into our legend segment. We do this segment now because we want to celebrate people that have had great influence on society in general, that are alive, that have passed on, and with everything that's going on, and with the beginning of a new civil rights movement, I wanted to highlight Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks. She was born February 4th, 1912, and died October 25th, 2005.
It's my dad's birthday.
Really?
Not the year, but birthday. Yeah.
Yes, she was 92 years old. She lived a long and amazing life. And the United States Congress actually dubbed her the First Lady of the Civil Rights Movement and the Mother of the Freedom Movement. Now, her birthday, February 4th, and the day of her arrest, December 1st, have both become Rosa Parks Days and commemorated in California, Missouri, Oregon. Now, I wanted to kind of do a little bit of research because not everybody understood exactly what she did and how she started like the greatest movement for Black people in the 20th century. So in the 1900 Montgomery, Alabama, they passed a city ordinance to segregate bus passengers by race, and conductors were empowered to assign seats to achieve that goal. So according to the law, no passenger would be required to move or give up his or her seat or stand if the bus was crowded and no other seats were available. Now, over time, obviously, that got tossed out, and they would order Black passengers to move if there is a white person that came on the bus that needed a seat. And what was so crazy about this law is that 75% of the people that took the bus in Montgomery, they were Black. So there were more Black riders than there were white riders, but they still had that into effect. So the sections were not fixed, but were determined by placement of a movable sign. So there's one section, they have a sign that says Black only or white only. If that section gets filled up, they move the sign. If the bus is packed and a white passenger has to get on, then a Black passenger has to come off. So that was the law. So on December 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, Parks refused to obey the bus driver, James F. Blake's orders to give up her seat in the colored section to a white passenger. Now, after the white section filled up, she was then arrested and charged with a violation of Chapter 6, Section 11, segregation law of the Montgomery City Code. Although technically she had not taken a white-only seat, she had been in a colored section. She was then charged, yes, so she was charged with the Section 6 violation. And what this started is the conversation. People were outraged. So on Sunday, December 4th, 1955, plans for the Montgomery bus boycott were announced at Black churches in the area, and a front page article in Montgomery Advisor helped spread the word. So at a church rally that same night, those attending agreed to unanimously continue to boycott until they were treated with the level of courtesy they expected, until Black drivers were hired, and until seating in the middle of the bus was handled on a first-come, first-served basis. So these are the things that they wanted. Now, on the first day of the boycott, it rained, but they still followed the rules of the boycott. Some people carpooled, others traveled in Black-operated cabs that charged the same rate as the bus. 10 cents. Most of the remainder of the 40,000 black commuters walked, some as far as 20 miles to get to school, get to work, wherever they needed to be. They did not go on the bus. On December 21st, 1956, so over a year later, the Montgomery, Alabama public transportation system was legally integrated. And based on her starting this movement that led to multiple other civil rights movements and changes, and it actually began Dr. Martin Luther King's journey as well, and he was involved in that. So as you can see, guys, everybody coming together, black people doing things together, we can actually make a change. And she's won so many awards. She has so many streets named after her. And I just want to say, Rosa Parks, we salute you.
We salute. It's so sad to know that, like, really and truly, you think about, like, can you imagine being born in that time and how things would be so much more different? Mm-hmm. It's like, I know we're in Canada and we appreciate so much more because you look at the U.S. right now and it's almost like day and night. It's like, how is this happening? Or just right across the border. Like, we can drive there in 8 hours and it's like, this is happening. Mm-hmm. But to look this far back, it's like, it's really not that long ago.
Yeah, and what we have to do is not far off of what she did or what they did to affect change. So using that as an example.
They're still doing the same things to us that they did back then. So why can't we do the same things to get the type of change that we need?
Yep.
By the way, we have a Viola Desmond in Nova Scotia, and she sat in the white section of the theater, refused to move. They arrested her. We have our own Rosa Parks.
Yes.
Right?
Shout out.
That would have been
Viola.
me. I'd have been, I'm not moving from nowhere. This is my seat. I probably would have got shot though, but I wouldn't have moved from my seat.
Can you put the studio number in the chat room?
But I'll say it again. I know we haven't said the studio number since the beginning of the show, so it's 647-243-9379. If you want to say something, if you want to just join the conversation. I know people are in the chat room going in, so we appreciate you guys. But definitely feel free to call in, join the conversation. Let us know what you're feeling, and if you want to, add something that we didn't mention, it's always something that we're welcomed here at Two Divas and a Mic. So, even just talking about these things right now, I know. I just mentioned, I just want to have a few questions for you guys that are here right now. We already talked about how to make a difference, but also, how do you guys feel about us fighting back? Not so much like, some people really, I've seen a lot of these posts where people are saying it's time to shoot back. We're going to start shooting police. Oh, okay.
Somebody's calling.
Thank you. Look at that. Numbers do help.
Right? Yep.
Hello.
Girl, I've been trying to call.
Oh,
yes.
shoot. Like, I've been trying to call. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Hello, Lisi. Hello, Mishi. Hello, Denny. How goes?
Hi, Tanika. Thank you so much for calling in.
I just wanted to call in and, offer my support because, this is an issue that has been going on. This stuff has been being videotaped since the 1960s. This didn't just start with camera phones. Look at Rodney King. Somebody just in their house or wherever they were off to the side videotaping, and it's still continuing to happen.
Yeah.
But anyways, what I wanted to say was something that Aries Spears actually had said, and I saw it on Instagram, and he said that I don't want to say what he said, white people, but I think society as a whole, because everybody in some way, shape, or form, every race in some way, shape, or form is racist. However, I do still feel that black people are the least valued of all the races. But Aries Spears said, I gotta hand it to white America. Bravo, you guys pulled off the world's greatest Jedi mind trick on society. This notion that black men and black people are to be feared is hilarious to me, because historically speaking, white people have been the most dangerous mofos on the planet. You wiped out Native Americans, you kidnapped blacks, you oppressed us for 400 years. We get beat by the judicial system. We get beat by the cops. We get killed by the cops. I just threw that in there. But anyways, when it comes to the stigma that black people are to be feared, that is the biggest hypocrisy on the planet.
But you know what? In a way, I agree and I disagree with that part, only because although this has happened to all Black people, we've still been able to overcome. We still have a lot of successful Black people. And I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't true, but in the sense that, like, we are so strong that they can try to hold us down, but for only so long. Could you imagine all the people that they didn't kill if we had that much more people plus us?
Yeah.
Do you know how much stronger we would be? So it's just so crazy that I feel like they want to keep us down because they do fear us.
Because they know how powerful
because we can be so powerful. If they were to go through what we went through, I don't know if they would make it through this point, you know, like, and be so strong. And I think that we really show our pride, and we hold our head high, and we keep pushing as much as it's hard, as much as you want to mourn and just do nothing and just lay there because you're like, I'm over this, we're never gonna make it. You just have to keep pushing through and educating yourself and just bettering yourself and helping the people around you. But sorry, go ahead.
100%. No, 100%. I 100% agree with that. But I do still think that he was right in the sense that there is a stigma against Black people. I feel like if you see me walking down the street and I'm walking beside one of my white friends, you're going to look at me, and before I even open my mouth, you're automatically going to think that I'm ghetto. You're going to think that I'm uneducated. You're going to think, not
or
you,
whitewashed.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes you look at the white person,
yeah,
like,
or whitewashed,
yeah,
whatever.
there's always some kind of prejudice.
But at the same time,
they look at us and they fear us based off of how we look.
But at the same time, Tanika, we have to accept responsibility as Black people for the image that we put out there about ourselves. The images that we...
I agree with that as well.
No.
Yes,
no,
we do.
Because, no,
we
see,
do.
Go ahead.
I feel like the media, whether it be news, whether it be movies, whether it be TV shows, I think they perpetuate that. Like,
and us as Black people, we perpetuated it as well. We
but
go
then
along with that
to
make that money, or whatever is paying me right now is what I'm going to be. And we need to say that this is what we're doing, and stuff like that needs to change. We cannot say that we want change and we want people to treat us differently, but we're giving them a reason to treat us in a certain way.
But see,
that's all I'm saying.
At the same time, they will take. We're ghetto when we do certain things, but when they do it, it's cool. Now everybody needs to start doing it. They're gonna jump on this. So I mean, it's like, you can't look at somebody and assume that they're this person. You have to get to know somebody. And I feel like it doesn't matter how we look. You guys are just shooting without even hearing our voice. So if you actually did find a gun and it wasn't registered, maybe I'd understand a reason. But if you're not giving us a chance to explain who we are and you're shooting first, we won't have that opportunity. So it's so sad.
And that's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was saying.
There you
Going
go,
based
girl.
off of, you look at us and automatically make that choice that we don't deserve to live anymore.
Agreed. No,
thank you so much,
Tamika. I know we know limited
I know
time.
Penny wants to say something. Thank you so much for calling. We
so
appreciate
to your
it.
point of everybody being racist, everybody can be prejudiced, but not everybody can be racist.
I was going to send it to you.
It's a matter of power. Who
Yes.
holds the power? If you don't have the power, you can't be racist.
That's right.
Exactly.
Thank you, Kenny.
Amen.
Okay, so do you want to move into
no?
Okay.
I know. I was gonna get into, like I mentioned, I listed the names. There was a few that I found in terms of cases, like what happened to those officers, but I really don't care. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Okay.
So
let's move into stereotypes and police brutality. So as we're talking about what happened to Philandro Castillo and Alton, what's his name? Alton Sterling, sorry. We can take a look at the stereotypes as we were talking about before. That's a great lead-in. So Philandro Castillo was pulled over because he had a wide-set nose and he fit the description. What is crazy is that in the live recording by his girlfriend Diamond Reynolds, that same officer said he was being pulled over because of broken tail light.
So
but
which one is it?
In the dispatch, he said he fits the description of someone that just robbed somewhere, and his wide-set nose gave him away.
It's always the fit the description. I really hate that. It's like, can I see a picture of the description that you're looking for? Because otherwise, I feel like you can look for like 10 more guys down the road and we all look the same. So are you going to stop us all? Like, it's just really sad.
Yeah.
So now, what was revealed in the past couple of days is that Castillo was actually pulled over 52 times in the past 4 years.
Damn it. Like, what?
he doesn't have a criminal record. He works at a school. He's a manager at a cafeteria. He can legally carry a firearm, which is registered. And in the U.S., if you have any type of record, you cannot legally own a firearm.
And they pulled him over, you said, for minor offenses.
Minor
actually.
offenses.
That's so silly.
It was basically he didn't have his insurance card in the car, or I don't know, he's driving a nice car, or whatever it may be. And he didn't have.
And how would they even know that? I mean, the amount of people that are driving with no license, you'd be surprised, and you don't stop them. But
so driving while black seems to be the reason why these males are pulled over. Countless videos have been released detailing police behavior, bad behavior when it comes to black men. There are countless stories of white men that are detailing their own encounters with police, and they've been stopped with guns in the back of the car. Oh, did you go to a shooting range today? How did you do at the shooting range? That's the conversation that they're having with police being pulled over. And there was actually a video of an older white man that got pulled over multiple times, and he recorded it. And the police would walk up to him and ask him a question, and he would simply state, "I don't answer questions." And some police officers actually said, "Okay, yeah, you have a good day."
Yeah, bye.
Okay, you have a good day. So there's clearly a difference between the interactions with black people and police and with white people and police. We're not saying that all interactions go on like that, but it seems like that's what it is. I just wanted to talk about this amazing article I actually read by Sean King. He's a Black Lives Matter he's part of the movement. Advocate. He's part of the movement, part of the group. And he writes for the New York Daily News. And he went over how this recipe, it's all a recipe, and this is the cake we're being handed, was the shootings in Dallas and these men that are being killed by police. So these are a few things he talked about in the article, and he hit the nail right on the head. The population of the United States is 320 million people, and they have more guns than they do citizens. If that's not crazy, I don't know what is. African American men, who make up less than 10% of the American population, make up 40% of all unarmed police killings in the US. And if you don't see that as a problem, black, white, native, Chinese, anybody,
dog, cat,
anybody, then you need to reevaluate some things. Now, there are about 200 countries in the world. The US is the only nation in the world that has more guns than people. So take, for example, China. They're 3 times the population of the US. They have 4.9 guns per 100 people. The US has 112 guns per 100 people. Gun control.
Me wonder why people are dying.
Also, there's a deeply violent founding of the U.S. So the violence in terms of how the land was captured, how they ran out Native people and put them in reserves, how they've stolen black people from Africa and brought them over to build the country, harvest the country. That is the problem, that the country is built on racism and enslaving people as well. And yeah,
I'm sorry,
she's gonna cut me off. No, that was an amazing article. I'm trying to tell
I know. So no, take it in. Like, I know you mentioned it. So I mean, we obviously are limited for time, and wow, we literally have less than.
I know. We have like 5 minutes.
So we just want to say, please feel free. I know we have a few more minutes, but we have you guys here to share stories and let us know. Normally we do RT. I don't think it's necessary for RT today, and you don't want to hear what I have to say, because what I have to say can't be said. So I'm gonna, we're opening it up to you guys. If you want to share a story that, you know, an encounter with police officers here,
whether good or bad,
US, good or bad, like Mesha mentioned, please feel free.
Am I going first?
Yeah. Sure. You know what? You can go first.
Long story short, I was 15 years old, riding my bike. Undercover car basically swiped me off of the sidewalk. 4 officers jumped out, beat me up, said I fit the description of a young black male that was in the area that was robbing houses. Obviously, it wasn't me. I was coming from a friend's house. And they asked me certain questions like, you know, do I know any drug dealers? Do I know any guns? What area do I live in? First, I'm 15. I told my mom. She brought me to 31 Vision. And yeah, they just basically laughed.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they
Nothing
laughed.
happened.
Nothing happened.
Did they beat you first and ask questions later? I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
like I said, pretty much they did, right?
The car jumped the curb and basically almost took me off of my bike, and 4 of them jumped out and just jumped on me, just pounced. Obviously, like I was like scared. I was like, "What the fuck is?" Oh, sorry. I was like,
"It's all right. You're ready. You have all right at this point in time to say what you want to say. Nobody's stopping that."
I'm like, man, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you fit the description. Stop squirming. Stop resisting. But of course, I'm scared. Another story just before somebody else gets into it. This is when Mint nightclub used to go on.
Okay.
About 10 of us were walking back from the club. Walk up to my vehicle. 3 cruisers pull up, guns drawn, only at me, nobody else. I was even dressed in baggy clothes. I mean, that's just how it goes, Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel sorry that lives were lost in Dallas, but that's just how it goes.
You feel kind of numb. Like, my condolences do go out to the families that have lost their loved ones. But yeah, you feel numb when you see those shootings, because it's like, for me, I almost felt like when I see maybe 100 officers die in 24 hours, I know it sounds really dramatic, but I'm being dead ass. Like, I probably would feel a little bit of even an inch of what I've been feeling for all these Black lives. And I'm not saying that your lives don't matter. I'm just saying that that's just how I feel, really numb to the shootings of the police officers right now. So it's hard.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share a story?
Real quick. This was like almost 2 years ago, because I had just given birth to my son, and we went to go see my boyfriend's friend. We had our son in the car in the back seat.
Yeah.
It was me, my son, and my boyfriend, and we were sitting up because we went to his house, whatever, and then we're getting ready to leave, and he walked us down, and we're all standing in the parking lot of the condos by Bramley.
I know you're talking.
I don't remember.
Lisa Street?
Yeah,
You're from Branson.
Those condos over there.
You be in Branson a lot. Go ahead.
And my boyfriend and his friend were standing outside the car, and they're smoking a cigarette, and, just chatting, getting ready to say goodbye. And right when my boyfriend got in the car and we're getting ready to leave, 2 cruisers pull up. Mind you, our cars are parked. They weren't even turned on. His friend was getting ready to walk upstairs. 2 cruisers come, and they're like, "Where are you going? Who's the owner of this car?" Da-da-da-da. And my boyfriend's friend is like, "Nobody's in a car.
Yeah.
Nobody's driving. Why are you bothering us? What's your name? Where's your registration?" And my boyfriend's like, "I'm not even driving.
So you're not getting that information." Yeah.
What more? It was like they kept berating us with questions, and he's coming to me and asking me questions. I'm like, I'm in the backseat. I'm with my son. I don't have to answer nothing.
Yeah.
It was to the point where my boyfriend's friend had to call the police station, like, we're being harassed.
Yeah.
And the lieutenant or the sergeant or whoever was in charge had to come down, and like we were there for probably about 20 minutes. At the end of it, they didn't get nobody's information or anything, because we're literally standing our ground saying, "You're not getting nothing from us. We didn't do anything." They said they were across the street watching us. So if you're across the street watching us, you would have seen that we were just standing up here talking.
Exactly.
So why are you now here harassing us? It's like crap like that they do, that they take their authority and they abuse it.
They abuse it. No, and even with that being said, I'm thankful that even these situations happened in Canada. As much as we hate that this has happened, you could have ended up dead.
Could have been a different,
worst case if you were in the States. But it's sad to know that still obviously it happens here, and I've seen a lot of it as well. But we're still limited for time, but we want to say thank you guys so much for coming down and joining the conversation. We will continue the Black Lives Matter. It's not over. We're never done.
Yes.
And next week we will be talking a lot more on what can we do moving forward. It's not just going to be let's talk about it. Let's start pushing forward and seeing change and what's going to actually be done.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for calling in, being in the chat room.
Always.
We did have a great chat room as well, and everybody for coming in and letting your voice be heard, because we do need to have these conversations.
We're not gonna let these people go and just forget about them. No, we're gonna make our voices be heard. So thank you for watching 2 Divas and a Mic. We appreciate you.
See you next week. My drink is done. Love you guys.
Mine's not. I was just my heart my heart is hurting.
10 o'clock on the dot.
Shit, that should have been longer.
Yeah, that was really fast. It was good.